How's it going, guys? I know it's been a little bit of a while since I've given anyone an update on the car, but I've been pretty busy. As you can see, I got it finally all painted up. It's not that bad. I always say it's not that bad, but it actually looks pretty good. For what it is, it's pretty good. I mean, the lighting in here and the camera doesn't do it any justice, but it came out really nice for brushable paint. Like, I didn't want to go and spray paint it. Like, I thought that would just make a mess, and I didn't feel like having the shop covered in spray paint. So this is the best choice, I believe. Yeah, I filled everything in with metal Bondo, so it came out nice and smooth. All the crevices were nice and filled. But for a body guy, I think I did a pretty good. For not being a body guy, I think I did a pretty decent job. That's probably like a slap in the face to body guys, though. They're probably looking at this and probably saying, "That looks like shit." But whatever, it is what it is. It was a lot better than what it was. I mean, the engine bay looked like a baby cow themed, but yeah, that is pretty nice. I also took out my power steering rack, or manual steering rack, cleaned it up. I have not yet to seen another steering rack that's aluminum, so I don't know if that's a rare option, but I thought that was pretty neat. I also got profane bushings, new hardware, cleaned up the straps. I started installing inner and outer tie rod ends with new boots, just kind of refresh everything. Like, I didn't want to toss in old parts. I also took out my windshield wiper motor and assembly, painted it up just so it looks clean when everything goes back in. So yeah, it was a lot of progress so far. But today we're going to be focusing on making an enclosure box for this oil cooler. I'm not going to close out the bottom because you want the air to dissipate from either side. I mean, if I trap it in one side, it's not necessarily going to flow well out through here because air likes to travel with the least resistance, just like water likes to travel with the path of least resistance. So open, but for the top where the NACA duct is, I'm going to keep it closed, so I'm going to follow the hood line and then swoop in. Hand motions again. But in order to find where the hood will sit, I'm going to tape some fishing line to each end so I can get the angle of the hood. It's just a simple way of doing it. I don't feel like sitting there and measuring for hours. And we'll do it out of cardboard first. Make our template. Get the template on a piece of aluminum, a nice sheet of aluminum, and then bend our box accordingly. Get that done, get that side steering portion of the rack done, and yeah, that should be it for today. This is the brand of paint I used. It's Armor Coat. I got this at Canadian Tire. You know, I've seen a couple of people use this paint online, but I've also seen this in person at my friend's shop. He's a heavy truck mechanic, and they use this on frames. And what I like about it is you can literally hit it. Let's say your wrench slips and you smack it. It won't chip the paint as easily as spray paint will. So it's actually pretty nice. It comes pre-gloss, so that's not too bad for what the paint is. And yeah, it makes the job easier. Just get a really good paintbrush, high quality one, and it'll come out pretty nice. This is only 2 coats. Like, I didn't feel like painting it again, but it's not a show car. It's supposed to be a track and probably like a Sunday go grab a coffee with the wife kind of thing. Nothing crazy. This thing's not going to see no rain, no clouds, no snow, obviously. See? Look, I'll even prove.
My leg!
Yeah, no scratches. I didn't want to do it to the engine bay. I really don't feel like scratching it. Even though I know it won't scratch, I don't have the heart to do it. So the steering rack is fully assembled. Had to reuse one of my dust bellows for my tie rod end, inner tie rod end, but that's okay. It's fine. There's no rips or anything, so it's okay. And I got my dust boot on for my steering shaft, and she's back on her feet, which is good because now I could roll it onto the hoist eventually and do more work to it, but that will be soon. I started taping up some lines just to get the angle of the hood in correlation to my heat shield or air box for my oil cooler, and I'll follow the line down with the template of cardboard, and it'll help me to figure out where the hood will sit in correlation with the box or the enclosure, so I don't make it too tall and it hits my hood and then vibrates and then I have to cut it all over again. I know I can measure it, but I'm feeling a little lazy. This is a quick way of figuring it out, and I'm gonna get started on that soon. So I have the shield mostly made up. I made a cardboard cutout first and traced it onto a sheet of aluminum and got the bends I needed to make it work. I'm not enclosing the whole oil cooler, again, just because I want air to dissipate quickly. I don't want it to have a spot where it just hits the side of the strut tower. Instead, it will disperse throughout the engine bay, which is okay. And when the hood closes, it's pretty much almost flush. There's probably like a ½ an inch gap of clearance between the hood, but the NACA duct actually sits a little bit lower inside the cooler case. I put my intercooler piping on just to see if I'll clearance everything okay. Like my AND line's gonna come pretty close, but if I can find a tight radius one, that'd be nice. And I'll have the lines run underneath. But worst case scenario, I could always flip the cooler around and then have the lines run into the side here. But again, I'm scared it might rub and then eventually pierce through the steel braided lines. Not impossible, but it would take a lot for that to actually rub through the steel lines. It'd probably rub through the body metal first, but I don't want scratches in my engine bay. Or I could drill a hole and run the lines through so you can't really see it, and then in between the chassis and then out so it looks clean. But I want this car to be as simple as possible. If I need to do work on it, it's relevant and it's easy to access instead of making my life so difficult. Yeah, if you're wondering why these segments are cut off really quickly and I'm not really spending a lot of time fabricating and showing how it's fabricated, I just got a lot on my plate right now with renting.
Rent?
In my suite, so I have to find another place because the guy wants to sell his, and that's not fun. And yeah, so I've been back and forth with this car, trying to do more work so I could get another place, blah blah blah. But anyway, enough about that. Next, I'm probably going to finish off the shifter linkages, reconnect it to the steering rack, and I got to make a block off plate for where the old brake booster went, so I'm going to make it out of a piece of glue. I have half a pedal box with 2 master cylinders, Obviously the smaller master cylinder is for the rear braking section, and then the front is the bigger master cylinder of the two. I will be running a brake bias for the rear, so I could increase or decrease the amount of bias that's going towards the rear, so it'll help with the brake bias. And I'm going to do a hydraulic e-brake in line, which will be nice because I'm tired of this e-brake bull, you know what. Garbage. So that's the update on that. And I still gotta get a Flora, but I think I'm just gonna Fred Flintstone it for a while because I really want to get this car on the road just to drive around for a bit this summer. Go for like a coffee or something. Get on the neighbor's bad side. Have them have a hissy fit. And that's it. Yeah. Short segment, but it's a little update. Wah wah wee wah. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.